Hi, this is Jen Vincent back with another weekly check-in, and I'm really excited to go over how my writing life has been going this week and share that with you so that you can also reflect on how your writing life has been going and see what has been working for you, if there's anything you want to shift or change or celebrate. I especially love the celebration piece because living the life of a writer is long, it's continuous, there's so much happening and going on, and so we deserve the chance to pause and celebrate and check in. So I'm going to talk to you about the 6 practices that writers have when we're living the life of a writer, and then talk through what it looks like for me this week. And while I'm doing that, I'm hoping that you can reflect and think about what living the life of a writer looks like for you this week. So first, six practices that writers have, know, and do when we're living the lives of writers. One, we're collecting ideas. We have a way to collect ideas, whether it's a notebook or something digital, like taking pictures, things like that. We have a writer's mindset. We know that writing is a process. We know that there are tons of strategies that we can use to help us. We also explore and we celebrate. So to start, this week thinking about my collecting, I've actually I have 2 notebooks that I want to share. So one, this is a notebook that I started to use when I really started working on my book. And so I've been collecting thoughts and ideas as I was sitting down to get ready to try to figure out even what I had to say and what I wanted to say. And then just the writing that I've been doing. And then I started later on doing more check-ins with myself, okay, this is what I'm working on. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm thinking about. Or this is my next step. This is how it feels. And kind of chronicling that for myself, which I feel is been pretty fun and exciting. So this notebook I wrote in this week because I'm at a fun point in my process, and I'll share about that in a little bit. And then my friend Carrie gave me a little stack of notebooks like this. They're just really fun, and she always says throw it in your purse and just have it with you so you can write whenever you need to. And I had a moment this week when sort of a new little, I don't know, it could be a blog post or it might just be a new, I don't know if it's my next book. It kind of came to me as well, maybe this is my next book, or just a new way of framing some work that I want to do for writers through Story Exploratory. So I just wrote it in here. I had this little mini download, and so I just paused and wrote it down and wrote a little mini, kind of a little mini story, but also bringing it together towards a new way of thinking, something that I want to think about for continuing to connect with writers. So I put it in this little notebook. It was kind of fun because it just was a new idea and it didn't really fit necessarily into anything. And I saw these, I'm oh, I'm going to put it right in there. So, so just kind of a fun to go notebook that I've been capturing some ideas in. My mindset has been really good because I handed over my book this week. So I met with my editor on Tuesday and went over all the final checklist, everything that we had to do. I think I shared my checklist last week, but I don't think I have it in here. But yeah, I had a whole checklist of all these teeny tiny things that I had to work through. And so that was my strategy, was working through my checklist. And that was really helping to keep my mindset focused, and also really just proud of myself every time I was able to check something off. And then yesterday, Saturday morning, I was able to finally check off the last absolutely final thing. And that was really exciting. It just feels so good to know that it's done and super exciting. So my mindset has been good, and being able to check things off and really feel final has been awesome. I've been listening to a lot of music to just kind of energize myself and get myself in this good flow of I did it, celebration. And so that's been really exciting. In terms of process, like I said, I'm at this end process where I just handed over my book. Now the team's going to work on it, and then I'll get copy edits back at some point. So that's my next step right now. It's really fun. It feels like a release. I got sick Tuesday after my meeting and then stayed home Wednesday and Thursday, just laid in bed, couldn't do anything. And I think in some ways it was my body, releasing from the work that we have just done this last year and the focus that I've put into it. I feel like when I needed to, or like when I had time to do something, I was going to work on my book. So I'm excited now. I booked a opportunity to go on like camping hiking weekend in May, and so that feels really good. I feel like I can get back to like some of the fun things that I just didn't make as much space for because I've been working on this book. So that feels good about my mindset too. I'm in sort of like the celebration and just like really sitting with it and acknowledging it and honoring the fact that I'm here. So that's good to get to that side of the process and feel like I've accomplished something is really exciting. And then open to new ideas and new opportunities of things maybe I want to like work on or share now. So like my little notebook idea, right? Strategies. So I mentioned that like checking everything off. I was still working on my checklist to get everything turned in, and that checking off felt so good. I found a couple other like sticky notes where it was still like said like this. I'm like, oh, I get to cross that off. So I keep finding ways that I can cross things off, which is really fun. I think my strategy right now that I've turned in my book is to really be open to new things that are coming. I've been noticing and wondering a lot with my students in the work that I've been doing in class lately. And then I brought that into Story Explorer where we had our monthly workshop yesterday. And so we noticed and wondered, like really we were looking at Map Crunch. If you want to search it up, it gives you like an image of somewhere in the world, a street view image, which is pretty neat. You just get a random image every day, and then you can search for different places and go back in the archives or just ask for a random image and it shows it to you. So we were practicing noticing and wondering, and I love that about being a writer, is really being able to look and see, what do I notice? What am I paying attention to? What stands out? Like what about this makes me think or feel something or wonder something, or what does it remind me of? I mean, that I feel like is such a fun part of being a writer. So I kind of feel like I'm back into the like beginning of the process where now I'm available to work on new things. And so I'm open to those ideas. I did also start to play a playlist for one of my fiction projects today. I was like, oh, I forgot about that idea, and sort of like I have space again to like explore other things. So I did turn that playlist on a little bit and see like what ideas would start to percolate. So it's fun. I'm sort of in a like refresh start. There's so many options mode right now, which is pretty fun. Explore. So Writers Explore, I mentioned that I'm doing the noticing and wondering, and that was kind of cool because we didn't go to Switzerland, but we did look at a place in Switzerland, which was fun because we got to explore a different place without having to like leave, right? So that was a neat thing to really notice and wonder during the workshop yesterday. And then today I went with some coworkers to go see a one-woman play about Frida Kahlo. And it was really, really like interesting because, I mean, I like the story, but I have learned a lot about Frida Kahlo since high school. I think I read about her in high school and then have really learned about her and read different books about her. So I know a lot about her life and her story. I've been to see her art. I'm very familiar with her art. But so I knew the story in general, but it was really neat to think about how this woman wrote this one woman play from a writer's perspective, right? Like, I don't know if I've ever been to a one person show. So she was really unique how she decided to use clothing. And she had it like hung up on like clotheslines, like 3 clotheslines, and how she kept changing right on stage. She was changing, taking things on, putting things off. Sometimes she was in the clothes, but they were still on the clothesline. How the clothes represented other people sometimes. It was really interesting. And it just really made me think about that genre of a one person performance, right? Like how they have to be able to tell a story, but still have other characters or other things that they're interacting with. It just really got me thinking about how unique that is and the challenge of what that might be. Not to say that I necessarily want to be able to do that, but it just felt like an explore moment, right? Because I was like out with friends and I was at a new theater that I'd never been to, but then also experiencing this new genre of type of theater, and really thinking about how it's read a story that I know and I'm familiar with, but told from in a totally new way that I've never thought about. So that was pretty cool to get to explore and see what that was like. And then celebrate. So I mentioned that I decided to go on like a hiking camping weekend. That was like fun to be able to like book that and be like, okay, I'm doing this. This is like official. It's my big celebration. And I'm signed up and I'm ready to go. So that feels really great. And then I've been telling people that my book is officially handed over, like my family and friends, and just putting it out there. Whereas I feel like sometimes in the past I might be like, okay, it's done, you know, but like I've really been like, can I just explain to you like how cool this is and what's happening next? And that's been really fun and exciting to be able to do that. So that is where I am at this week. I'm really excited to see, again, some new opportunities and what's going to come forward. For me, I hope you take some time to think about what living the life of a writer looks like for you and how the 6 practices that writers have, know, and do is looking like for you. Check in with yourself, see what's working or anything that maybe needs your attention. And yeah, I hope we're doing well, and I'll check in with you again next week.